Do you need to install GA4 Facebook Pixel or Google Ads conversion tracking? In this case, you might have heard about the tool called Google Tag Manager that helps us do it fast and easy without the need to call the developer for help. Some people might say that love at first sight does not exist. Well, I can say that this is exactly my case with Google Tag Manager, and I hope you will also love it once we start exploring it together in this tutorial. We have a lot of things to cover, so let's dive into it. Enough talking. And I would love to start with a quick overview of the tool. Why do we need the Google Tag Manager at all? Well, it solves many problems for us marketers, and if you want to install tracking in order to determine the success of your campaigns or to analyze what users are doing on your website, you have to install scripts. Previously, you had to go to the source code, do it manually, and usually this would involve your developer. But with the Google Tag Manager, you have to install a snippet of code only once, and then you can do all the magic through the web-based interface. What are the advantages of this tool? The obvious one, it's free. Anyone can start using Google Tag Manager and you can create your own account, which is great. It's so easy to use and you will see it in this tutorial because we will implement many things and I'm pretty sure you will love it. You have the version control system. You can always restore the previous version if something goes wrong. So it makes it really safe when you want to set up something. You also have a preview mode and we will be using this one, and it makes the testing and troubleshooting really easy. And let's say you want to play with the settings, you want to have a look before making them live, and this is doable with the help of the preview mode. And it gives you so much flexibility because in the Google Tag Manager, you can easily add and update tags. And the cool thing here is that you do not have to call your developer for help each time. There is also user permissions management, so you can give access to people, giving them different permissions depending on their role. Someone could be a viewer and someone could be an editor. So it's really cool, especially if there is a big team working on the project. So I assume you're impatient to start using it, right? So let's navigate to tagmanager.google.com. And if you do not have an account, you would have to create one from scratch. Or if you have one already, you would see something similar like this. Here you can see my accounts, my containers, but do not worry. We will create it together. Let's click create account. And here we have the account name. And this is usually the name of your company. I will put my business name. Of course, you should provide a proper one. Then you should select the country. I will say Germany. We have this option, share data anonymously with Google and others. You can select this one if you want to enable benchmarking and share your data, but I will skip it as you prefer here. Then we have the container setup, container name, and this is usually your website. So this is my website, and here I will simply copy and paste it here. But of course, you can provide any name you want. Then we should select the target platform. And as you can see, Google Tag Manager is a really powerful tool because there are multiple options here. But we're implementing tracking for a website and we will be working with the first option in this tutorial. Let's select it and click create. Here we have the terms of service, so we should accept them right here. And let's click yes. And voila! Here we have 2 snippets of code. It's not enough to create a container. We have to connect it to our website somehow, and we can do it by installing those snippets of code. Here we have the first one, and it should be as high in the head of the page as possible. Why is it so? Because the browser starts rendering the page from the top to the bottom. And the higher the code is, the better, because it is a very high probability that it gets executed correctly and your tracking also works correctly. Then we have this second snippet, and we need this one in case JavaScript is disabled, which is very rare, but we will implement it. You can do it in different ways. Let's say you're not the administrator of the website and you don't have access to the source code. What could be the solution? Then you would have to send the instructions and the snippets of code to your developer and ask him or her to implement those. Or you could do it manually on your own if you have access to the source code and if you feel confident working with the code. And there is also an option of implementation using a plugin. We will do it manually, and I will also show you how to do it with the help of the plugin. So let's start with the manual setup. Let's close this one. And now you are freaking out because you don't know where those codes were and you have to send them to your developer, but you cannot find them anymore. Do not worry, you simply go here, and if you click on it, the codes are waiting for you. Let's copy the first one and let's go to my website, and I need to go to the backend. And I have to say that my website is running on WordPress, and this is why the installation in this case is WordPress specific. You might see something else, you know the principle, implementing the snippet in the head section. Here I go to appearance, and we have theme editor, and I will look for header PHP. And you remember that it should be in the head section. So I will paste my code right here. And this was the first snippet. This one should come immediately after the opening body tag. I will copy it here and we'll go and find our body tag and we'll place it right. And let's save our changes. And we can go to the website. And now the question to you. We installed the snippets of code, but how can we verify if it is working correctly? That's a good question. So we can do the right click on the website and we click view page source, and then you can search for Google Tag Manager, and here you can see the code that we have just implemented together. Great. Now, the second option, I can go to my Google Tag Manager, and here we have this preview that we can click. You have to provide your website's URL, so I will simply copy it and paste it right here, and we click connect. And now, if we go back, you can see something like that. This means that it is installed correctly, at least on this page. So I can go to some other page. So I will navigate the website just to show you, and it will be displayed here. So this is a sign that my implementation is correct. If you managed to install your Google Tag Manager, good job. So this was the first implementation option in the source code, and now we will do it with the help of a plugin. So let me go to the backend of my website, and I will remove the codes first. So let me go to header PHP, and I will remove those snippets. Here we go. And we should save the changes. Let's click update file. And now we can install our tag manager with the help of a plugin. Let's go to plugins and click add new. And again, this is WordPress specific, so you might have something else. Let's select Google Tag Manager, and I will look for this plugin, Google Tag Manager for WordPress. You can use any plugin you want, but this is the one that we utilize for our clients, and I can also recommend it to you. Let's click install now, and we have to activate it. And here you see, to start using Google Tag Manager for WordPress, please enter your GTM ID, or you can also scroll down and look for this plugin in the list, but I will use this shortcut. And this is where you enter your GTM ID. Let's copy it and paste it here. Make sure that this setting is on, and we do not want to have any tweaks. This is why we select the first option, and let's save our changes. Oh, you see, for some reason, this always happens with this plugin. It gets automatically swapped to off. So let's select on one more time, and let's save our changes. And let's go to our beautiful website. Not that beautiful, but this is the test demo shop. Now we can test our implementation. If we do the right click, we can view the page source, and you will see here we have the tag manager implemented by the plugin. Great. Or we can also go to the tag manager and click preview. You have to provide the URL, so let's place it here and let's click connect, and here we go. I can navigate, so if I go to albums and posters, it is changing, so you can see something like that. It means you implemented your Google Tag Manager correctly. So we managed to install the Google Tag Manager for the first time, and now it's time to explore the interface. Here we have the overview, and then we have tags, and this is exactly what you would love to implement. For example, the Google Ads conversion tracking, or GA4 event, or Facebook pixel, and so on. And you have multiple options here. And then we have triggers. And here the question, when should our tag fire? So with the help of triggers, you provide the condition. For example, I want to fire my GA4 on all pages, just as an example. So triggers define when our tags should fire. We have variables, and these are crucial little helpers, and they help us set up tracking. And you will see variables in triggers. For example, let's have a look at a trigger, and we have page view. And here we have an option, all page views. But let's say I don't need to set up my tracking on all pages, but I want to do it on the contact page only. Then I would select some page views, and we can specify the condition, and we will do it exactly with the help of variables, because we say page URL and then contains contact, just as an example. So these are some kind of filters that specify when a particular tag should fire. Extremely helpful, and we will be using them the whole time. But you can also need variables in tags if you want to capture dynamic values. I know it might sound a bit complex, but we will do it together and you will see how it works. Let's say you want to track a purchase, but you have to grab the price somehow. And we will also do it with the help of variables. Then we have folders, and you can view those as folders in real life, or you store your documents. So you can simply keep all your papers together, or you can use folders to make everything neat and well organized. Especially as your container grows over time, it can become really difficult to keep track of all your tags, triggers, and variables. And this is why you can use folders just to make it easier for you and for your team. So that it's just a few words about housekeeping, but you can also ignore those. And we have templates, and these can be real lifesavers, and they can help you a lot when you set up your tracking. So of course, Google Tag Manager has several options available, but not all of them. And let's say you have some specific case and you would have to create some codes, and it can become really complex, but some kind people have done this for you and share their creation with the community. Of course, you should be careful using those templates because, again, they are provided by third parties and not by Google, but you can simply check if they are verified and if you can trust those. And by the way, we'll also use templates to set up tracking in this tutorial, but a bit later because this is just an overview so that you start feeling confident with the interface. This is the workspace. Here we have versions, and it's still an empty container, so we'll publish our container once we implement GA4 tracking. So a bit of a spoiler alert here, and this is where you can restore your versions if something breaks or something goes wrong. I hope not, but it's really safe, as you can see. And we also have admin. On the left side, we have the settings related to the account, whereas on the right side, we have the settings related to a property. And here you can check the settings, activity, user management. For example, if you want to grant access to a user, you can click plus right here, and you can either add users or user groups. And this is where you simply provide the email, and you can also choose their level of permissions. For example, if that person should be a viewer, an editor, and so on. And this is how you do it. Now let's go back to the workspace, and it's time to set up our first tag together. And we will implement our GA4 tracking together. I have to warn you that this is not a GA4 tutorial. If you want to learn more about this tool, you can check the video that I created before. But now let's go to our GA4. And if I go to data streams, and here I have my stream, I want to start analyzing the behavior of my website visitors, but I don't have my snippet of code installed. So here I have view tag instructions, and in order to add GA4 to my website, I have to install this snippet, and here we have the code. But I want to do it with the help of Google Tag Manager. You remember that we don't have to mess with the code anymore, and this is the beauty of this tool. And this is where I have this measurement ID. I can simply copy this one, and let me go back to my tag manager. I will close those for now. And we want to create a new tag. We go to tags and we click new tag configuration, and we want to implement GA4 for the first time. This is why we select the option GA4 configuration. Hey there, this is Sofiia from the future, and if you do not see the GA4 configuration tag here, it might have been already replaced by the Google tag, which was announced this week. But do not worry, because it's basically the same thing, and if you had your GA4 config tag before, you don't have to do anything, as it will be automatically upgraded for you. To learn more about this update, check the description because I'm attaching a link for you there. Coming back to our tutorial. And this is the field where you paste the measurement ID. Here we good to go. And this is our tag. You remember that each tag should have a trigger. We have to say, when should my GA4 fire? I click on triggering, and you remember that I want to have my GA4 installed on each page of my website because I want to analyze the user behavior on all pages. And the question to you, which trigger type should I choose? It should be all pages. And now we can also provide the name. And it's good to have your own naming convention so that you have everything really tidy in your tag manager, especially if there are many people again working with you, so that you always refer to the same naming format. Okay, and we should save our tag. And now the exciting part, we can test our implementation. So let's click preview, and we can click connect. Here you can see Tag Assistant connected, and if I go Here, let's click continue, and we have tags fired, and this is my GA4 configuration. Great, so let me select this product just as an example, and you can see fired 2 times because I'm navigating the website and I can see that it is working correctly. And if I go to my GA4, I can also quickly double check it in the debug view, and voila, so you can see this timeline of events and the data is flowing. This means that it is set up correctly. You did a good job if you can see it, but we missed the most important part of the whole setup. What do we have to do? We have to go back to the tag manager, and if we want to make our changes live, because this is just right here, it's not on the website, we have to click submit. You can also provide the version name, let's say GA4 config, just as an example, and you can add a description. This is really helpful for your colleagues, and let's click publish. And this is funny because many people tend to forget to click publish, and I have seen so many cases where such complex tracking was set up, but a person simply forgot to publish the container. But it happens. So let's have a look, and here we go. You can see the live version, the latest one, and this is the one that we published together. If you managed to set it up, well done, because in this way we implemented our first tag, and now we can analyze the data in GA4. And you can see that it is really easy, and we did not have to mess up with the source code. So we implemented our first tag, but now we will explore the functionality even further. And let's say I want to start tracking GA4 events. How can I do it? Let me close those, and I will show you the sign up form that I have on my website. And here we go. And I want to track when a user submits this form, and I want to send this data to GA4. The first thing I have to do is to submit this form as a test, right? And I'm lazy, and this is why I'm using this lorem fill extension. And let's click submit, and here we go. So when a user submits a form on my website, he or she gets redirected to this success page. And this is how I could track it, right? Because this is the thank you page, and this is when my event should fire. Let's go to the tag manager. Let's click tags, and we can create the next tag. We click new tag configuration, and this time we select the different tag type because this should be a GA4 event. Configuration tag, we select the one that we created before. Event name, I will say sign up. And here we will not use event parameters for now. We can add a trigger. So this is my tag, when should it fire. Let's specify the condition, and we click plus here, trigger configuration. This is a page view because this is a thank you page. This is why I select page view. In this case, I do not want to track all page views, yet some specific page view. This is why I select some page views. And this is where we specify the condition saying page URL contains, and we can copy this part and paste it right here. And of course, you should provide a name. Let's save our trigger, and we should also provide a name to our tag. And let's save it. Now we can also click preview, and let's click connect. What should we do? We should go to our sign up form, and we have to submit it. I will use lorem fill again, submit. And here we go. This is my thank you page. I submitted my form. Let's see what happens here. We have tags fired and my event also fired, which is a good sign. So it means it is working. I can also go to my analytics and I can look in my debug view here to see what happens and if my event shows up. And here we go, sign up event. Wonderful. Again, in order to make those changes live, you would have to publish your GTM container. Okay, you might say that this is extremely easy. And what if you want to track button clicks? What could we do here? Yeah, indeed, if I go back to my preview and let's say I click add to cart, and if I go back here, I do not see my click. Why is it so, and how could I pass it to the Google Tag Manager? Because we have to let Google Tag Manager know that the click has happened. Well, let's go back to the Tag Manager and you will go to variables and we would have to click configure and activate all click-based variables because we will be using those to define our conditions in triggers. And now I go to trigger and I will create my basic general trigger for clicks, all elements. We can even call it all clicks for now. Great. And let's click preview just to see what happens. So now let's add this product to cart. And if I go to my tag assistant, I can see this click right here. This is my event, but now we are tracking all clicks in general. But I want to track only that specific click. I don't want to track all those extra clicks right here. You see that they get registered here, but I want to have the add to cart one. I will click one more time so that this is the last one. And the question is, how can I identify that this is the add to cart click? Let's go to variables and here, let's have a look. We have click ID, click target, click text. This is an empty string. Not much I have. For example, click text, add to cart. And we could utilize this one to filter our condition. So we define our click. We say, I don't want to track all clicks, yet this specific click and this click has click text, add to cart. Let's copy this one. And now we can go to the tag manager. We can find our trigger and we can modify the condition saying not all clicks, but some clicks. And you remember that this is click text. So I say click text contains add to cart and we can call it click add to cart. Let's save our trigger. And now we have a trigger and we can also create our tag. Let's click new, tag configuration. This will be again GA4 event. We will select the configuration tag, event name, add to cart. I will not send any event parameters for now. And then we have our trigger and we can select the trigger that we have created together. And let's provide a name to our tag. Let's save our tag and let's click preview to see what happens. All right, now what do I have to do? I have to add my product to cart and here we see click and text fire GA4 event add to cart. Awesome. So this means you set it up correctly. Let's go to my analytics and let's see what happens here. And we should also have this guy. Add to cart and here we go. Well done. And the last step, of course, is to publish your Google Tag Manager container. Alright, so you already learned some information about tags and triggers and you know how to set this up. And you might think, oh, this is too easy. Well, let's make it a bit more complicated and we will introduce a new concept that is called a data layer. Let me show you what I want to achieve right now. This is my website and here you can see different products that I offer to my clients. And I want to track a purchase and I will do it in the Google Ads account because I want to track it as a conversion. The thing is that I also need to track the revenue. how can I do it? As my products have different prices and they change dynamically. And we will do it with the help of data layer. A data layer is a JavaScript object that passes information from your website to the Google Tag Manager. And here in the Google documentation, you can see an example with books, book category, fiction, book title, book author, and those values are changing dynamically. In our case, we will need the information related to our products. And you can see different prices, so we have to capture them somehow. You will not see the data layer anywhere here because this little guy lives in the background and it is impossible to see this little helper somewhere on the page, but it does everything behind the scenes and passes the data to the Google Tag Manager so that you could set up your tracking. The question is, how can we install it? Well, you remember I told you that you have to implement the GTM snippet only once and then you can configure everything directly there. But if you want to use a data layer to set up more complex tracking, you would also need to install it in the source code. And this is something usually done by the developer, or this could be done with the help of a plugin, which is my case. So this is the snippet of code and example, and you would have to send it to the developer. In our case, we are lucky because we have a plugin that could do this for us. So I will go to the backend and I will simply activate this feature. So let's look for our installed plugins. And we should find the Google Tag Manager for WordPress. Let's go to settings. And here we have integration and we need WooCommerce. And we have the option track enhance e-commerce. Again, this is related to my plugin only that I have installed. If you're using a different plugin or if you have a different CMS platform, the installation would also be different for you, but in this way you can track the logic behind it. So let's save our changes. Let's see what happens here. I will go to my website and let's navigate back to the Tag Manager and click Preview. And we will copy this one, paste it here. Let's click Connect. And now we have to make a purchase. Here we go. This is my thank you page. And you can see the order number and the total price. Let's go back to the preview and let's see what happens here. We have number 39 and this is my purchase event. This is exactly what the plugin does for us or what your developer would have to implement. Let's have a look. Here I have my purchase event. E-commerce, and you can see the items with their different names, different prices and IDs and so on. So we can find all the information about the products we bought as well as the transaction ID and value. And we will use this data layer to set up our tracking. Okay, so now what we have to do, we will go to my tag manager and we will create a new tag because we want to set up tracking for Google Ads. This is why we select Google Ads conversion tracking. Conversion ID, where do we get this ID? Let's go to Google Ads and here we have to set up our conversion. Let's click create. We want to create a conversion action. Again, a warning, this is not the Google Ads tracking tutorial. If you want to learn more about it, check out my video about conversion tracking in Google Ads. Let's click website. And here we have to provide the URL and click scan. We will cancel this one because we want to create our conversion manually and we'll add a conversion manually. I will quickly set it up. So we want to have a purchase conversion name. We are going to track our purchase with value because we want to make it interesting. We have many products with different prices. This is why we use different values for each conversion. And I will leave the default settings for now. And let's click done. And we click save and continue. And this is my tag, and we are doing the whole implementation with our wonderful tool with Google Tag Manager. And here we have the conversion ID, so we should copy this one. And let's go back to the Tag Manager and paste it here. We have the conversion label, so we can copy it too and paste it. And here comes the value. This is not static, and we want to track it somehow. And this is exactly where we will use a variable. How can we grab this price? How can we capture it? We need the value, and it is right here, value. How can I access it? So you would need to use something called dot notation. We will say e-commerce, and then I need my value. If you do not feel comfortable with the code, I also recommend using this extension, this blue eye, and here we have purchase. And if we look for our value, you can find it right here, e-commerce value, and you can simply copy this key. Let's go back to the tag manager. Again, it should be dynamic, and we are trying to capture it with the help of a data layer. This is why we need to create a variable that will do this for us. Let's click plus variable configuration. We are working with a data layer. This is why we select data layer variable, and we provide the name e-commerce value. We can also call it like that. Let's save our variable. Here we also have the transaction ID. You already know how to do it, but let's do it again together. Let's go back to the preview, and this is my transaction ID. So again, I would have to say e-commerce transaction ID. You are somehow not confident, we can go to the extension, click purchase, and we will look for our transaction ID. Here we go, and we can again copy this key and we create a variable. Let's go and click plus variable configuration, data layer variable. Let's provide a name and let's save our variable. Here you see this warning, conversion linker tag missing in container, and we simply have to create it because we are setting up our tracking via Google Tag Manager to ensure that everything works correctly. You can also add currency here the way we did, and now we want to attach a trigger. So when should my conversion fire? Let's go back. Do you have any ideas how we will do this one? So the data layer created this event for us, event purchase. How will we say to the tag manager that we need this condition? Let's go to trigger, we'll click plus, trigger configuration, and we will look for something called, maybe you have some suggestions? Yeah, it should be a custom event. And you can either provide it, or it's always better to copy to avoid any mistakes. All right, we should also name our trigger. Let's save the trigger. And of course, our tag needs a name. Let's save this one. And I will click preview to see what happens. So we have to click connect. And now, in order to test our implementation, what do we have to do? Yeah, we have to make a test purchase again. Great. And here we go. Let's go back to the tag assistant. We have number 43, purchase. We have tags fired, and this is exactly my tag. Great. And you can see more details. We can also check the transaction ID, which is correct, as well as the conversion value. Let's double check. Yes. If you see that, this means that you set it up correctly. And of course, you would have to wait till it gets registered in Google Ads because it takes some time for the status to change. So remember, if you're working with Google Ads, a user must go click your ad, then go to your website, through that ad and then make a conversion. This is how it works. And then it will be recorded in Google Ads. But again, this is not the Google Ads tutorial. This is the Tag Manager tutorial. And this is why I will go back to my Google Tag Manager, and who can tell me what the next step is. We set everything up, we verified our implementation, and now it's time to publish the container. I will not do it right now because we have some more exciting things to implement. We have explored different components of the Google Tag Manager so far. So you set up tags, triggers, variables. We even implemented tracking using the data layer. This one can be quite complex, and it's absolutely normal if you have to re-watch this part several times. I did not get the concept of the data layer for the first time. It's normal. If you did, well done. But there is one element that we have not explored yet, but I promise to do it, and this is a template. We will set up TikTok tracking using a template, just so that you know how it works and that you can have a look at different components of the Google Tag Manager. So let's navigate to my TikTok, and this is my TikTok Ads Manager. In order to set up tracking, we have to go to Tools, Events. And this is where you can set up web events because we are working with a website. This is why I click Manage. And here we want to create a pixel. So it says here, in order to create conversions, you need to install a TikTok pixel first. And we will do it. This is not a TikTok pixel tutorial. Again, another warning, if you want to learn more about TikTok tracking, we have a series about it on our YouTube channel. Anyways, let's click Create Pixel. Pixel name, you can say base pixel or any name you like. Then we select TikTok pixel. Let's click Next. And we want to install it manually. Okay. And I will work with the custom code because I want to have full control over my tracking. And here we go. We have to copy this pixel code and we have to install it. We will use the Google Tag Manager. This is why we will go now to the Tag Manager. We'll click New, Tag Configuration, and we want to install the TikTok pixel, but it is not available here. We cannot see it anywhere. What could we do? We will look for something called custom HTML. And this is exactly where we can implement different snippets of code, and we should trigger our pixel. And you remember that we want to install it on all pages of our website. This is why I select all pages. And of course, let's provide the name. Let's click Save. All right, so this is our base, our pixel, and now we have to set up our tracking. In my case, I have this contact page, and I simply want to track when my users go to this page. Easy, nothing complex here. How can I do it? The first thing you should always do is checking the documentation. The documentation can help a lot, and we check the official documentation provided by TikTok, and we can read about the events here. You can find the list of standard events, and here we have something called contact, and this is the name that we should use. I don't want to install any snippets because I don't want to mess with the source code. How can I do it with the Tag Manager? Because you see that we do not have a dedicated tag for TikTok, right? It's not available. We had to use the custom HTML. But what about events? And this is where templates come to our rescue. We'll go to templates. And here we want to search gallery and find the tag template. So let's click search gallery, and you can type in this field TikTok, and you can see the green tick, which means that it's verified, and we can select by TikTok. Let's add it to our workspace, and let's click add. And this template does the job for us. So now we can go to our tags and we will click New Tag Configuration. We scroll down and here you can see the TikTok pixel. So it shows up here and we can use it to set up our tracking. Let's select this one. We should provide our pixel ID. Let's click next here, complete setup. And this is where you can find this pixel ID. And let's go back to the tag manager and paste it here. We should select the name of our event, and this is contact. All right. And now we will not deal with the advanced matching configurations in this video because this is out of scope for this tutorial. And we need to do one more thing. If we go to advanced settings, here we have something called tag sequencing, and it is important for TikTok tracking. We select the option fire a tag before, and we have to select our base pixel. So this is all pages, because we want to make sure that our event fires after the main pixel so that everything works correctly. And we can check it in this setting. And then trigger, we want to track that contact page. So this is why it will be page view. You already know this one, I have no doubts. Some page views, and we should select page URL contains, and we can simply copy this part here, contact as, and let's provide the name. Let's save our trigger. We should also save our tag. Let's save it here. And one more setting to double check. When we go to TikTok Pixel all pages, we have to make sure that it is set to once per page so that everything works correctly. Let's save it. Great. And now we can test our implementation. And I will also use an extension that is called TikTok Pixel Helper. Let me enable this one. Here we go. Let's go to the tag manager and click preview. I can simply copy this URL, paste it here. Let's click connect. And here we go. So what do we have in the tag manager? You can see TikTok event, and we have it here. It means it works correctly, and TikTok Pixel all pages. Let's have a look in this extension. You can simply click on this TikTok Pixel helper, and then you will see some information. If you see this wording, it's fine, and because we installed the Pixel with the Google Tag Manager. We have the page view, and we have the contact. Sometimes it can show errors, but it should be working fine. You can always double check in your events manager. So there is another way to test your TikTok events right here, but I will not show you in this tutorial. You can again check our series about TikTok tracking. Here, if I go to singles just to see if it is working, so I should see my pixel here. Page view, which is great. So everything works as expected. Now I can go to my tag manager and I can publish my container. You should provide the version name, any name you want. You can also add a description, and we can click publish. And this is our new version that is live. So I'll go back to my workspace. So we found out how you can use templates to set up tracking. And there are so many things that you have learned so far. Tags, triggers, variables, data layer, templates. Good job. And the next question is, what should I do with this knowledge? What are the next steps? This is a good question indeed. Instead of studying theory and documentation, in this tutorial we were looking at real-life implementation cases, and we were setting up different tags and triggers together so that you could get this hands-on experience with the Google Tag Manager. And this is a wonderful adventure. And now I want to show you the mind map that we created for everyone who wants to master this tool. Well, there are different concepts here. So we can see the fundamentals, and the fundamentals are why Google Tag Manager, different use cases. So we partially covered it. You should also know the technical aspects about implementation, how it impacts the site speed, and what can be interact with GTM. And also the privacy implications, security concerns, and of course if you're working with mobile apps, because it's a different universe out there. Then there are also the main components that we covered, so I will skip those, but it is indispensable to dive deeper and to master those further. And of course, then we have the tracking deployments. And there are so many things that you can do with Google Tag Manager, because we did some implementations and there are so many platforms out there, and it is really powerful tool. You cannot even imagine how much functionality it has inside. So this is a wonderful adventure. There are also different tracking techniques that you can utilize. For example, iframe tracking. So this is something a bit more complex. Form tracking, cross-domain tracking, custom UTM parameters, overriding the referrer. So you can do a lot to manipulate your data. And also there is the whole concept around cookies and how you will be setting cookies. And this is a separate section here. So if you want to learn more about Google Tag Manager, on our YouTube channel, we have a blog, and there are also so many nice resources by other creators. But if you are really committed and you want to take this to the next level, I definitely recommend checking our courses at magicschool.com, because this is where you can really dive deeper into this tool, especially if you want to learn how to track like a pro. I think this was an amazing adventure together, and you definitely learned a lot, or at least I hope so, and I wish you to have a lot of fun exploring. And now the very last question after working with the Tag Manager for the first time. Do you believe in love at first sight?